And I'm not going to say it again. I'm not going to go into it again, but just to give you a synopsis so you don't think that, I just came from Miami Beach and that's where I was raised and grew up. I grew up half in Israel till I was 4, and then I grew up the rest of my years in Brooklyn, and I grew up in a secular Israeli home, and I went to public school, and my parents are from Chulon, Bat Yam, and that's where my family's from. And I had a life, and things happened, and that's why today I am wearing a wig. It is a wig. So it's a long story, and hopefully after this class, if you want to hear it, I have it on YouTube. I could send you the link. Give me your email. I'll send it to you. But tonight's class, I feel very, very passionately about. And the reason is because I see that a lot of people are suffering, and I suffered a lot from it. And I think that everybody suffers from it. Everybody suffers a lot. And a lot of people, I think the fact that in the past few weeks we had these suicides with Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, and all this talk on the internet and everything that's going on, I think that all these things are getting highlighted very, very much in today's consciousness. People are becoming very, very aware that there's something that everybody has to pay attention to. And I wanna bring up something that I think is really important. And the thing is that, the war that we're fighting in Israel with the terrorists and the Arabs and the underground tunnels and the leftists and everything that's going on in the world today is very, very much an expression of what's going on within us, an expression of what's going on within every single one of us and within the Jewish people. It says in the Torah that whatever you see outside, you should just know is a reflection of what's going on in the inside. For example, if you see that this girl, that woman, she's cheap, look at yourself again. Look at yourself again. It says, anyone that sees the dark side in his friend or somebody else, you have to realize that the only reason that you're picking up on that is because it's something that you know about inside of yourself. Maybe you're in denial about it in yourself. Maybe you don't want to see it in yourself, but it's happening in there. For example, if you're a person that has no idea about labels, about fashion, you don't know what Kate Spade is, you don't know what Gucci is, you don't know what these things are, and then all of a sudden one day you get really educated because your friend buys you this amazing bag, right, or this something that's a scarf, or whatever, and you see the price tag and you realize that this means that this tag, what's it called, line, this fashion designer is really, really expensive. It means it's really delicate. It's really whatever makes it that expensive. The name, the whatever it is that makes this thing that expensive. Then you start seeing it everywhere. Now, when you're walking down the street here in Florida, or if you're in Miami, or if you're in Mamila in Israel, or wherever you are in Prague, if you ever went to Prague, I was in Prague and I was shocked. Like, you walk down the street, it's just like, it's crazy. You think like you're going into like ancient Europe, and it's like, what? No, Versace and Gucci, and it's crazy, right? So now you start seeing it everywhere. Why do you start seeing it everywhere? Because you've become aware of it. The only reason that you see things in other people is because you're aware of it. Whether you realize it or not, whether you want to look at it or not, you have to know you have it in you. You have something inside of you. That's why she gets on your nerves so bad. Who do you fight with the most? People that are most similar to you. Your mom. Yes, your husband. Who's your husband? Your husband is the other part of your soul. He's a counterpart of you. You come from the same exact thing. What you see in him, you have to know. What you see in him, the frustration that you have with him, and you could say, and I just want to, because you brought it up, okay, I think the main example with husbands and wives, one of the bigger ones, is that one of them finds fault in the other for not being like them. So if he produces a lot, and she's a schleppy, whatever, and she doesn't know how to clean the house, she doesn't know how to get herself together, it takes her 5 hours to get dressed, and what does he see in her? She doesn't know how to get her act together. Why does he see that in her? Why does he? Because he feels like he knows how to, he does. And what does she see? She sees he's so busy, he's running away from himself, he's running away from the family, he's running away from being a dad, he's running away from being a husband, throwing himself into work, and that's his excuse for his pathetic life. Right? And every single person sees something in the other person, but in essence, if there's a concept called En Abdolach, and Rav Yuval Asharov in Eretz Yisrael, he teaches about this concept, and it's a long course, but it's very valuable, and if you can look it up online, it's very valuable. It's called En Abdolach. And basically, he teaches Kabbalistically, in detail, this whole concept of you ain't going to see it if you don't own it. Even if you think he's like that, not me. He's lazy. I'm not lazy. Look at me. I get this whole place done in an hour. He's the one that's on the couch with his phone all day. Right? You have to know that this rule applies. So tonight's class is not about this. Tonight's class is about this concept that, I feel like it's a little bit dangerous to talk about this, because especially on live TV, it's a little dangerous to go into this area. But since the Torah talks about it, I feel like we can talk about it, and we should talk about it, and it's important to talk about it. And today I was reading a quote by Oprah, and Oprah said, if we don't talk about this, okay, if Oprah says it, I could say it. If we don't talk about this, then it's just gonna get worse, right? And we have to talk about it. So this is the way I'm gonna lay it out there, because our minds are so used to hearing the same things over and over again that we just I know this. Oh, I know this. Oh, I know this. It's almost like you go to you go to someone Christian and you just talk to them about being a good-hearted Christian. And someone that grew up in the Christian system, I have some Christian friends, so I know they're the burnt out ones. They're just don't tell me to be good-hearted. Whatever you do, just don't say those words. Why? Because every single Sunday when they went to church, and every single time they were exposed to any kind of Christianity, it would always be good-hearted. Be a good-hearted Christian. That's what's going to make you a good Christian. So wherever they hear that, they exit out. Their mind can't hear it. Even if, let's say, when they're 45 and 50 years old, and it's something that there's something value in, something that they've learned when they were young, they can't hear it because they have such a bad association with it. So the way we're going to understand tonight's class, because all of you know this, what we're about to talk about. We're going to go about it in a different way. I'm going to trick you, and you're going to trick yourselves, because then you're going to understand the message in a way that you didn't hear it before. Okay? And it's important that we trick ourselves. Always trick yourselves, and you'll understand what I mean by the end of this class. Okay. Do you have your thinking caps on? Okay. Here we go. Let's begin. Happy Rosh Chodesh. It's Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. Happy Rosh Chodesh to everyone. Happy Rosh Chodesh. Now it says that Misha Nichnas Tammuz Mimaed B'Simcha. Okay? And it also says about Av. Misha Nichnas Av Mimaed B'Simcha. That whoever Mimaed B'Simcha. Go down. Take it down a notch. But we'll don't take that as practical advice. Okay? Because I think they were talking to a generation that was a little less suffering than we are. Let's just say that. We can get to that. But there is something very, very, every single month, every single Jewish month brings with it energy. There's energy. That's why you look at your horoscope, right? You look at the month that you were born in, your sign, what it means, and it's true. And it's true. If you're an Aquarius, you fall into the Aquarius sign and how it works and how you are and what kind of, I'm an Aquarius, right? And the symbol is an air symbol. And they're spiritual, but they're also flighty. Hello? How'd you know? And every time I read it, I'm like, how do they know me? Because why? So how do they know? They know because there's truth to this. There's truth to the stars and the energies, and the Zohar talks about it. There's a tremendous amount of truth to this thing. So what's Chodesh? What's the Chodesh? Chodesh is every month comes with its own energy. Every month comes with its own energy, and every year it's a different energy for that month and that year. You understand? So it's not the same Tammuz next year. We're not going to have the same Tammuz next year. We're going to have Tammuz, and it's going to be similar qualities of Tammuz, because Tammuz is Tammuz. But it's because it's going to be a different year, then it's going to come with its own angle. It's going to come with its own thing. So, Mizrat Hashem, we're going to use the energies of this month, even though they're harsh energies this month. And this month it's not an easy, simple month. It's a complicated month. But if you learn about this month, and if you understand what this month is about, then you can bypass it. You can bypass it, which means, what does it mean to bypass it? Not just to get around it, but to use it. So, Chodesh Tammuz is Chodesh Puraniyut. It's a month of suffering. It's more suffering than Av. It's more suffering than Av. This is written in the Sefer HaToda'ah. I don't have it here. Sefer HaToda'ah, Rav Eliyahu Kitov. And he says it's more suffering than Av. And Av is like Bet HaMikdash was a story. The first one, the second one, the Holocaust started, the pogrom started, the Spanish Inquisition started. The Av is pretty bad, right? But it all started in Tammuz. And what happened? Let's go back for a second. And all of a sudden things will I think there's going to be a lot of light bulbs going on in everyone's heads tonight, hopefully, Bezrat Hashem. What happened? The Jews get to the point where they're already behind, everything is behind them. They're past Mitzrayim, past Yam Suf, out. They're about to go into Eretz Israel. They're about to go into Israel. They're stopping outside of Eretz Israel. They send in spies to Eretz Israel. They come out with a really, really bad report. The report is, oh my gosh, they start bugging out. They start freaking out. They see the giants. They see the fruit. They see the nations in the land. They get really, really scared. They feel, we're like grasshoppers compared to everyone that's in Eretz Israel. Imale. Oh my gosh, we can't go there. Israel's so scary. There's no money. There's terrorism. We should never live there. Eretz Ochelet Yoshveh. Everyone hates everyone. Everyone's fighting everyone. Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Smolanim, Yeminim. All the fighting that's going on. Charedim, Dati'im. All the things that everyone talks about Eretz Israel all the time. And we have to be very, very careful. We have to be very, very careful. Lo lotzi diba al haaretz. Not to talk negatively about Eretz Israel. Even though everyone talks about it negatively. All the time. Especially Israelis. I have to mention that. Okay? We have to love our land. We have to take it the way it is. When a man marries a woman, he takes her, and hopefully she takes him, with all of her pros and all of her cons. With all of her good and all of her not so good. That's love. Love is not, oh, you're perfect. You're just a perfect combination of America and Israel. You have Target. You have Walmart. You have malls. You have the Kotel, you have Tveria, you have the Yam, you have the Kivret Tzadikim, you're perfect. Now I can live there. What do you mean to live in Israel? There's no Amazon in Israel, right? There's no such thing. When you are in love with something, you understand that it's not a matter, I'm not in love with it because it's perfect for me. I'm in love with it because I'm in love with it. It is different. It is special. It is something else. It is something that I don't have here. So I have to mention that because I'm suffering intensely from hearing people say not good things about our land. So let's just go back. Let's go back for a second. So they come out and they start saying all these bad things about Eretz Israel and how we're small and how we're never going to beat it and we're little and who are we? And then we have a bunch of Jews sitting on the side and crying. Why did we even leave Mitzrayim in the first place? We knew Mitzrayim. It's almost like an abused wife. To leave the marriage is almost scarier than to stay in the marriage because at least in the marriage you know what to expect. You know that if you don't make his egg the way he wants it, you might get a slap in the face. You might, right? You know what to expect when you leave the marriage. You have no idea what's waiting for you on the other side. When I was getting divorced, I remember asking someone like, should I, shouldn't I, a therapist? And she said to me, listen, I want to tell you something. She said to me, I want to tell you something. All you're doing right now is exchanging hard for hard. It's not going to be easier when you get divorced, but it's going to be a different hard. So the hard that you have now will cease to exist. You won't have this hard because you won't be married, but you're going to exchange it for another hard. I think that was like the first time in my life that I realized that life is hard, and life will always be hard. Why will it always be hard? And this is what we're learning about tonight, and hopefully Bezrat Hashem, by the end of these couple of points that we're going to clearly understand in our heads, and if you need to stay up, go get some coffee, okay? We're going to clearly understand in our heads that in essence life isn't hard. And life is not painful. And all the things that we think it is, it's not. It's not. And I'm not just like selling you something. I have nothing to sell you. You're not giving me your money, right? I came all the way from Miami Beach to give this message. And this is something that I've gone through, I've explored in myself, in my life, within my hardships, in my crying sessions, in my screaming into my pillow sessions, in my emotional breakdown sessions. This is where all the work is at. And this is where your happiness is at. So they come out and they give this really bad report, and the rest of the night, the whole nation, just imagine like the nation, imagine to have that picture of all the Jews by the Kotel, tons and tons of Jews by the Kotel, imagine them, all of them sitting on the floor, chas v'chalila, and just sobbing and crying and crying and crying and crying. And that's what happened, and after that happened, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to them, Atem bechitem bechiya shel chinam, because you cried for nothing, I'm going to give you a reason to cry for generations. And that was Tisha B'Av. That was the night of Tisha B'Av. But the whole episode started on Tammuz. They came, they went into Israel, the whole Meraglim, the whole thing. We have to check it out first. We're not sure. Let me do a pilot trip. Let me check it out. Let me make sure I have everything in order. Let me na-na-na. Let me na-na-na. And then once I have complete control of my life, then I can take the next step. But unless I have complete control of my life, and I know where my income is coming from, and I know what the responsible thing to do is, and I know where I'm going to do, and I'm going to know where I'm going to go, and I'm going to know how it's going to work, and I'm going to know who I'm going to be in touch with, and then I can move into the next phase of my life. Then I can make a decision. That's why people are stuck not making decisions in life. Because making a change in your life requires risking things. And people are very, very scared to risk. The Jewish people were very, very scared to go into Israel because it was risky. All they had to do was say, oh my gosh, there are giants. Oh my crazy God, there's gigantic fruits. Oh no. Okay, gotta go. Sometimes you have to take all the information that you have and say, but this is the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. But oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard, so difficult. I can't do it. I can't face it. What if they're going to crush us? They thought they were going to be crushed by all the 7 nations that were inside. You have to do the right thing. You have to do the right thing. What is the right thing? Ma Hashem rotzeh. So here's
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
So why did Moshe send them anyway?
He sent them anyway. It was okay for them to go scout out the land.
Yeah, but actually Hashem told him.
They asked for permission. Hashem said beseder. Hashem said okay. And when they went in, the problem is not checking out what the problem is. Meaning, you have challenges in your life. You have hardships in your life. The point is not to look at the challenges and say, no, I can't. That's not the point. The point is, there's a challenge. Oh, there are giants. Oh my gosh, I feel like a grasshopper. There's nations. There's things I don't know how to. There are bills I don't know how to pay. There are things I don't know what I'm gonna do about. I don't know how I'm gonna raise my kids. I don't know where I'm gonna live. I don't know about. Okay, it's a challenge. Let me go into it. Let me go into this situation. What they did was they cried so much. They were so afraid. They cried so much that that's what screwed it up for them. Okay, so here we go. So before I was talking about the Arab tunnels, right, in Israel. So, back in the day, not even so long ago, I was in Poland a year ago. When you walk through Poland and you walk through Auschwitz and Birkenau and Treblinka and all these ghettos and all these concentration camps, you see that the enemy, it was very clear who the enemy was. The enemy dressed a certain way, talked a certain way, acted a certain way, and who the victim was very, very clear. The Jew was the victim. The guy with the big nose, that was the victim, right? Obviously. But they had the Jew was the victim, the guy was the abuser, the Nazi. It was very, very clear who your enemy was. If you were Jewish and you lived back then and you would see a Nazi, you would know he's your enemy. I'm running in the opposite direction. And I don't want to mess with him, right? And today, living here, living in the world that we're living in today, in 2018, yeah, we have our enemies. We definitely have our enemies, and Baruch Hashem, our army is taking care of them and doing all that they can do, and the nation is praying. But there's a war going on with an enemy that is nonstop. The enemy that is so nonstop that it's gotten to a point where, we have celebrities, and we have rabbis, and we have anyone that is in any position of leadership is talking about. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about our minds. Our minds. Now, they found out scientifically, and obviously the Torah talks about it. We're going to bring a little bit of Rabbi Nachman tonight, what he says about it, that your thoughts have an energy greater than any other energy you possess as a human being in the world. Your mind, if you had X-ray vision, you would see energy coming out of your mind. And it's not just an energy, it's a magnet. Your mind is a magnet. It's a force. It's a force. How does it happen so often when you think about someone and they call you, or you think about someone and you see them walking down the street? How often does it happen that you wake up in the morning and you wonder about this thing and all of a sudden you get that text message or you get that phone call? How often? And that's one time that you thought about something. Imagine a reoccurring thought all the time. I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. He doesn't like me, he hates me, he uses me, he takes advantage of me. Over and over and over again, what happens to you? Our minds, our thoughts are like bed bugs. Ever had bed bugs? Anyone here ever had bed bugs? No? You've had?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. High five, sister. All right.
I wasn't there how many people had, but I.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, don't think about it. Don't attract it. We don't want it. Don't talk about it. I had bed bugs. I had bed bugs 1 month. You had lice. Lice are friends when we talk about bed bugs. I would take lice now over bed bugs.
You have bed bugs, you have to throw out your bed.
You have to throw out your whole house. You have bed bugs. And you have to bring dogs to smell the walls. It's very interesting.
10
The what?
Tent? You tent them? Okay. Okay. Oh yeah? I thought that was for termites.
It takes care of everything. It
Oh
takes care of
really?
No, I had.
Yeah.
everything.
I guess I opened the can of worms here.
Alright, let's change something.
So the thing with bed bugs is that you get one, and then you wake up the next morning and you have 7, but really you don't have 7. Really you have 7 that you see, and another 200 that are cooking. They're in like the eggs. They're about to buy more than that. More than that. When I had bed bugs and I started Googling it,
How do you get it?
it was like a few weeks after I got divorced, and I had people over, and they had it, and I didn't know they had it.
It comes on the skin.
It goes on your clothes. They came over for Shabbat. They slept in our beds. It was great. Perfect. Yeah. So.
Anybody sleep in my bed.
So anyway, so oh yeah. So when I started reading about bed bugs on Google, what came up was that they multiply if you don't treat it immediately. And there's a way to treat it, and there's a way to cover the mattresses, and you have to buy these special casings and all these things. If you don't treat it perfectly, then they will multiply, and they multiply something like 10,000 eggs over in a day. Something like you have to nip it in the bud, otherwise you have to move out and leave everything that you own in the house. Because they go in wood, and they go in linen, and they go in curtains, and they go in picture frames, and they go in beds, and they go in bed frames, and everything. Okay? It's a joy. So, so the way it works is like this. When you are worried to the point where you are shaking, not able to sleep, you have stomach aches, you have anxiety, you have panic attacks. Okay? When you are fearful of the future, of what's going to be, are you going to be able to provide, are you going to be able to pay the bills, are you going to be able to pay your mortgage? When you are fearful to the point where you're shaking from fear, or fearful of a person, or fearful of a situation, right? Or fearful of not getting your green card. Let's just use that as an example. I've learned this is a big deal in Florida. I didn't encounter this in New York, but in Florida it's a big deal. People are very, very, I'm sure in New York, I just didn't encounter it as much. Yeah. Just fearful of things that are going to happen, fearful of your interview, fearful of not finding that job, fearful of not having that baby, fearful of never getting married or remarried, fearful of your children, not turning out the way you want them to, or making bad decisions, or going with the wrong people, or using drugs, God forbid, or any of these kinds of things, right? And living like that, living with these things. So here's the chidush. The chidush is like this. The reason that they didn't go into Israel, and they ended up staying stuck in the Midbar for another 40 years. They were supposed to go into Israel right away, and staying stuck in the Midbar, and then creating Tisha B'Av for the next thousands of years for all the generations to come, and all the things that happened because of Tisha B'Av, all the wars and the pogroms and the Holocaust and everything that came from that terrible, dark, devilish energy that they created in the world. Where did it come from? It came from prophesizing bad for yourself, prophesizing bad for your future, prophesizing bad for your children's future. But our minds, Tony Robbins says that our minds are programmed for survival. They're not programmed for happiness. Our minds are not programmed for happiness. That's our job. That's our job. So you have to, number one, when you're dealing with an enemy that is drilling tunnels underneath your homes, you have to, number one, identify your enemy. Know who your enemy is. When you have that negative voice in your head that's telling you you're awful, you're a bad mom, you don't know how to make money, you're fat, you're a failure, you don't know how to raise your kids, you're an awful wife, why is he even with you? He can go find someone better. Everything you do is just not successful. You're not successful at anything. You have to know that you just open the door to the bedbugs in your brain. When you think these things, and they roam around our brains all the time. What is mental illness? What are people having anxiety attacks over, and depression, and suicidal thoughts, or committing suicide, or drugs and alcohol, or other self-destructive behaviors that are going on? Kids that are cutting, kids that are joining gangs and cults. Where is all this coming from? Why are animals not doing this? Why is it only the human being that is doing these things? Where is it coming from to walk into a school and gun down children? Where do these things come from? So yes, there is such a thing called mental illness. But I believe, and I'm not the only one that believes this, and I can give you names of other people that say this, people that are very held of and have studied the research and data on this, that if you entertain the negative thoughts that you have in your head, and you give them freedom in your mind, I suck, I'm a loser, I don't know how to do this, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, I'm stuck with this guy, my kids aren't this, this is my life, this is my future, this is where I'm... If you open up that can of worms in your head, you have to know they multiply. They multiply, and they multiply. And all that happens to you is that you have just predicted your own future. Not future as in future, future as in this week future. Future as I feel like crud and I want to stay in bed and I can't move because my life sucks and I suck and nothing's ever going to get better. That's the future that you're envisioning for yourself. Because thoughts are magnets and our minds are magnets, and what you think about, you attract. And it's not just what you think about you attract. You have to know that real illnesses, people with cancer, it's a real thing. You could see it on a screen. You could see it in the person's body. People with cancer have beat the cancer with changing the mantra in their minds. The author of this book, who is my teacher and I learned from, and she has saved my life numerous times, her name is Louise Hay. She's not a Jewish woman, but she is a...
Is that the Hay House?
Yeah, Hay House. Exactly.
I get a lot of information.
And incredible. She has cured herself from cancer just by thinking and changing her way of thinking, just by focusing her energy only on what she wants. If you keep thinking about what you don't want and not about what you do want, you're going to attract it. What does thinking about what you don't want mean? Thinking about what you don't want means getting sad about your situation. Getting sad about your life means that you don't see a way out of it. Means that you don't believe that there's a way out of it. Means b'chiyah shel chinam. They didn't see a future for themselves in Israel, and now that meant that they were going to stay in the desert. So I'm going to live in the desert. I'm going to live. You want to live in the desert with cactuses, cacti? Is that what you want to do? You want to stay in the desert? No one wants to live in the desert. They were okay walking through the desert, but they were going to a land, and they were Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash. They were like so excited to go to this place, and all of a sudden, boom, bad news. Because life will always deliver. Life will always deliver news that you didn't expect. You didn't expect to get married to get divorced. You didn't expect to open that business only to lose it and to file bankruptcy. You didn't expect, God forbid, to live your life and have a beautiful life and then at the age of 40 get cancer. You didn't expect, God forbid, your child to do drugs, be with the wrong people, join a gang, commit suicide. No one expects things like that. No one expects these things. So what we have to get smart about and focused about is that's life. And as long as I'm here and as long as I have a pulse, that's my life. That's life. That's everyone's life. That's everyone's experience. Our job is to get smarter. Our job is to step up. Our job is to understand that, okay, I'm going to have some traumas and I'm going to have some difficulties and I can have them on a daily basis even, okay? On a constant, okay, God, I get the point. Can you give me a good day? But the idea is that it's never God not giving you a good day. It's you not seeing that this is the rightest thing for you. It's not the rightest thing for me. If it was the rightest thing for me, that land wouldn't have giants in it and it wouldn't have other nations. If it was the rightest thing, the doors would open and I would go in, I would find a home and I would sit there and I would dwell there and it would be my life. This is screwing up my plans. This is messing up my life. This is not good. This is stopping me from going to the next place in my life. Why is this happening to me? And Hashem will make sure that we have many, many of these things in our lives. Where all of a sudden things are going so well for you and you're like, everything is good and you have a schedule and your kids are on schedule and everything is like, you have a job and you have an income and you feel good and maybe you're even dating someone or something and like whatever. And then there's something. And then there's crying. And then there's why. And then there's how come. So the part of us getting smarter is to know, you will have challenges in your life, and those things are challenges. Those things are just challenges. What is a challenge? A challenge is an obstacle course. You have what it takes, and you're able to get through this obstacle course from one part of it to the next part of it. You might end up bloody at the other end of it. You might end up bruised. You might end up stronger or weaker or whatever it is, but you're going to get to the other end. And at the other end, you're going to be a different person. Because the person that's sitting here tonight and speaking to you is not the same person that spoke to you last time I was here. Because Baruch Hashem has set up a boot camp in my life. Baruch Hashem. And I'm learning that it's His love. That it's only love. That it can't just be when things are chill and things are good and the way I see them to be good, that I'm growing, because I don't grow then. I don't pick up a book then. I don't pick up a siddur. I'm being honest with you and the rest of the world. When things are good, I forget, I'm a mom, whatever. Things are good. You don't think about what you have. Nobody thinks about, I have a house to go back to. No one thinks about, I have a car to get into to go back to my house. Don't think about it. It's muvan me'alav. Of course it is. Of course I have that. Baruch I have kids. Of course I have a husband. Of course I have a job. Of course I have an income. Of course of course. And then I stub my toe and I'm like, right? Because pain is only you seeing it as pain. It's only your seeing, it's only your vision on it. It's only your perception on it. God is giving you that pain to tell you, come on, get up. You're so much stronger. You have so much potential. You have so much inside of you. I want to see you living your life. And you're not. You're chilling over here, riding the wave, drinking the pina colada, living the Miami life. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong with that if you're not constantly pushing yourself. Constantly pushing yourself is this. Here is I realize that people go for diets that are exact. Tell me what to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'll be your friend. If you tell me just eat healthy and work out, I don't want to talk to you. Okay? Don't tell me I can have my coffee and eat my cake and eat my pizza and lose weight and not tell me how to do that. Because if you're going to tell me that, you have to tell me to do that. Right? And there are all these diets and we've been all around the block with them. right? So that's the thing. People want strategies. And that's the idea. The idea is strategies. If you are living your life worried, fearful, scared, full of anxiety, taking medication because you just can't calm down, you can't fall asleep, you're so scared, you're so scared, you're so scared. You know where that's coming from? It's coming from your need to control your life. And you will never be able to control the situations that happen in your life. All you can control is how you respond, how you view it, where you're going to take this. Where are you taking this to? Where are you taking it to? And it's okay. You know, when you go to the gym and you see someone really, really working out, somebody that's really working, he doesn't look like he's like, yeah, I love it. No. He's not like, have a smile. He's crying from pain. Pain and tears don't necessarily have to mean and equal bad. It doesn't always have to equal, and it doesn't equal. That's the chidush here. That it does not equal bad. It equals you're growing. Welcome. You're crying right now. It sucks right now. It's hard for you right now. Now you have to change the way you view this. You have to change the way you look at it. You don't want to because you want to feel bad for yourself and you want to feel bad for the situation that you're in and you want to complain to your friends and your girlfriends and your parents and everyone else because everyone has it better than you. And that's what you want to do. That's all you want to do. And I'm asking you and I'm forcing you right now because the only way you're ever going to look at yourself in the mirror one day and say, I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you because you're the bomb. You're amazing. You are amazing, and that's something that you have to do every single day, by the way. When you wake up in the morning, it's called mirror work. You look yourself in the mirror and you say, hi, Devorah, good morning. I love you very, very much. Look yourself in the eye and say that to yourself because you're talking to your little girl. You're talking to the little girl inside of you that has so many complaints on herself and is so criticizing of herself. And the only reason that you're criticizing of the world around you and everyone is not perfectly suitable for you in whatever way it is, and he's annoying and she's weird and I don't like her and I have beef with her and I'm not talking to her and this and that. Why is it that you have all that? Because you have a lot of criticism going on inside of you. You're very critical of yourself. Very critical of yourself. And as long as you are critical of yourself, that little girl inside of you, and we all have a little child inside of us. Say what you want, laugh about it, it's truth. We all have a little child inside of us. The more you criticize yourself, oh, I'm such an idiot. Don't talk that way to yourself, ever. I would never call my child an idiot. Oh, you're such an idiot. I would never say that to him, even though maybe he sometimes is. Sometimes, right? I would never, ever, ever say that to him. Why would I never call him an idiot? I don't want him to call himself an idiot. I don't want him to say that to himself. I don't want that to be his own internal dialogue, right? So when you look yourself in the mirror in the morning or in the afternoon or the evening or all the time, whenever you're checking your makeup out in the mirror, just be like, hey, beautiful. Hey, amazing. Hey, powerhouse. Why? Why? Because the more you strengthen that core within you, the more you know how to take your life on. Take your life on as a challenge, as an opportunity to become more me. And not to be like, everyone is hurting me, everyone is doing to me, I'm a victim of everything, I don't have money, and I don't have anything, and my life is so terrible, and all that stuff. You can't go down that path. You can't go down that route anymore. You can't do it. You can't do it. I'm not yelling. You have no idea who you are. I just like your eyeliner.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have to go. Nice to meet you too. You can get the rest of it if you want online. That's it. That's it. And I'll tell you one thing. The reason that we said can of worms is because if you don't stop a negative thought quickly, meaning, how do you stop a negative thought quickly? You're sitting on your porch, and you are, and it's
Replace it with a good thought.
Either replace it with a good thought. I'll give you a personal example. Last night I was sitting on my porch, and I was thinking about, okay, I'll be honest. I was thinking about the fact that, I really, really want to eat well all the time, and I know so much about health. I can become a nutritionist in 2 seconds. I've researched, I've done, I've learned, I really know so much about health. And when push comes to shove, I'll have like a soy hot dog at 3 o'clock in the afternoon after having like 2 coffees and not eating all day, right? When push comes to shove, I won't put my money where my mouth is. Of like, eat a big salad, eat some fruit, have some fiber, here's some kale, have a green juice, do something, right? Like, not 2 coffees, don't. Right, so I'm sitting on my porch, and I'm just sitting on my porch, right? I put my kids to sleep, and I'm relaxing, and thoughts, thoughts don't ask your permission. They just appear, they just come, and you don't even notice them. They're just like running around your head like bed bugs, right? And the thought, what was the thought that came up? And because I've done so much work, and I'm doing so much work, and I'm constantly working on this, the thought that came up was, Devorah, you are totally, the reason that you don't know how to eat well is because you suck at consistency. You're not a consistent person. And I'm like sitting there, and all of a sudden, I feel myself like getting down on myself, but not even noticing it. It's not like someone's yelling at me, you're bad, I just, the thought went through my head, you're just not a consistent person. And I was like, okay, I felt like it was the truth about me. And then all of a sudden, this other voice, and this is like the first time this has happened to me, and I'm working for a really long time. And all this work that I'm going to tell you here as we get to the end in a few minutes, all of a sudden another thought came, wait. What are you consistent in? I said, I'm consistent in this and this and this and this. I'm also consistent about drinking coffee every morning. And I'm consistent in a lot of things in my life. But our minds automatically go to the places that we are not good at, that we are not successful at. Because again, our minds are not programmed for happiness. Our minds are programmed for survival. Our minds are programmed to see what's wrong with the problem, to see what's wrong with the picture. That's what our mind is programmed to be. Our job is to figure out in this zoo called life how to be the best me. Not to be a sorrowful victim of life. Not to go there. Because anybody can go there. We're all programmed that way. So I wanna give us a few tips. And by the way, I just want to say with this whole tunnel thing, because I never got to it, with the Arabs and the tunnel, what's so scary about the way it is today? Back in the day with the Germans and all the people, it was very, very clear who the enemy is. Today, it's not clear who the enemy is. Today, he's your waiter, he's your driver, he's in the mall, he's everywhere, right? And all of a sudden, somebody can get stabbed, or somebody can come out of a tunnel and into a person's living room, and it's all that is the brilliance of terrorism. What's the brilliance of terrorism? That you're not prepared, and you don't know. If not, it's a bright day. You're sitting and having a cup of coffee in a cafe, and God forbid, right? That's the brilliance of terrorism, and that's why they want to keep it that way, because it's sudden and it works. The tunnels under the ground are brilliant. They could have thought of other things, but they thought of that. Why is it so brilliant? Because it's terrorism. Because they terrorize. Because it's all of a sudden. It's not planned. It's not we're in war. Okay, the Germans or the British, and we know there's tactics. There's no tactics. You don't know who your enemy is. So the first thing you have to recognize is, number one, identify your enemy. Identify your enemy, and your enemy is, Devorah, you're so inconsistent. That's my enemy. Because you know what that turns into? Mental illness. After a while of thinking negative things about yourself, oh, you know why I'm divorced? And then, that person said that, or I walked into the room and nobody looked at me, or nobody offered to sit next to me, or nobody offered me a chair. Oh, because I suck, or because nobody likes me, or because, they didn't invite us. Of course they didn't invite us, because we're like this and they're like that. That's the enemy. Identify your enemy. That's your enemy, because what you think about, you attract, and what you're going to put out there, you're going to see. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. That's all you're going to see. Okay? What you say, the words that you say, you're all of a sudden just going to see it happen, manifest in your life. That's number one. Number two, after you identify your enemy, know the tactics of your enemy. The tactics of your enemy. Know the words that are flying through your head. Know the bugs in your mind. Know the thoughts that come to get you. Know those things. Be ready for those things. They're there. They're going to come. All those things that, the buttons that you push your own buttons that only you know. Things that you say to yourself that you feel like, that's the truth about me. Anybody that's going to know me, get to know me, is going to know the truth about me. It's the only reason that it's the truth about you is because you believe it. Because somebody somewhere in your life, maybe when you were 7, maybe when you were 5, maybe when you were 10, maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a parent, someone somewhere told you that that's you. And you believed it. And you believed it. No, you're not good at that. You're not good at that, sweetie. No. You're not good at that, okay? And they limited you, and they put you in a box, and you just accepted it, because that's what children do. They accept. So you just accepted it. And that's become your inner truth about yourself. I am this, I am not that. This is my type, this is not my type. This is what I... The only reason that you have these labels on yourself is because you were given labels. So the first thing you have to say to yourself is, wait, I think I'm not able to be spontaneous, or I think I'm not able to, face a room full of people and say something. Do something every single day that scares you. Do something every single day that scares you, and it maybe could be walking down the street and just saying hi to somebody, and have them look at you like, because people don't do that here. Like I was walking on the boardwalk this morning, and this lady had this fabulous dress on by the beach in the humidity of 90 degrees, Miami. And I looked at her and I was like, you look amazing. I love your dress. And she was just like, but she walked by me like I was an illness. But she was horrified. Like she couldn't even turn her head to me, right? And but do that because it's good for you. Do it because it's good for you. Step out of your comfort zone for a second a day. Scare yourself with something. A day. One day. Do something that is so not your type. Who says what your type is? You've created a type. You live in the type. And you're miserable within yourself. Because that's the type that you are. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to do that. Oh my gosh, it's so not me. So become the things that you appreciate. Become the things that you respect. Become the things that you look up to. Become the things that scare you. So do them. Exactly because they scare you, do them. Precisely because they're scary, do them. Because that's how you expand. And that's our purpose here in this world. For the 70, 80, 90 years that we're here in this world, our purpose is to expand. And all of these victimizing thoughts, and all of these bedbugs in our brains, and all of the crying for nothing, and all of that stuff, all that does is keeps us small and isolated, and not wanting to connect to anyone, and not wanting to look at anyone, and see anyone, and love anyone. And we feel, if you want something, just say, I am. I am strong. Those are affirmations. That's strategy number one. So we identify the enemy. We know the tactics of the enemy. The tactics of the enemy are really, really not good thoughts that we have about ourselves and about life and about people and about our future, and fears and worries. And the third thing is know strategies, how to combat. Because unless you get smart, and I promise you, this talk is like useless if you don't do this. You have to do this work. Get her book. Read this book. It sold over 50 million copies. Okay? Listen to her work. On YouTube. She's incredible. I brainwash. I go to sleep with her in my ears every single night. She says, fall asleep to this meditation. I go to sleep with her. I wake up with her. I've done it for a few months. I'm already a little bit like not doing it so much. I'm doing other things. But she changed my life. I was able to get through really, really hard, difficult situations because I had this ability to say, okay. And now when something crazy happened, this afternoon something crazy happened. I'm not going to tell you what it is, obviously, but something. Of course, you want to know. You're Israeli and you're Sephardi. Of course not.
How do you know she's Sephardi? She's not. Her mom is Polish.
You're Ashkenazi, so I'm Sephardi. Okay, so you're just curious. You're just very, very curious. So something. What's your name? Riki. Rivka. She's Riki. I think she's Riki. Rivka מאיפה? משוויץ? משוויץ.
My doctor recommended her.
She's excellent.
I also have
Yeah.
She,
Out of this world.
but I just went online. I registered to your website, and then I had a feeling that it was too much like a business oriented.
Just buy her book. Or just read this. Read it.
Then I decided.
Let me put the book up for everyone to see.
Unsubscribe.
You can heal your life. You can heal your life.
I'd like to buy the book.
We're almost done. 2 more minutes.
I'd like to buy
Okay? Number 1, strategies is you have to say the things that you want and not say the things that you don't want. So if you have no money, Ricky, if you have no money, don't say, I have no money. I have no money. I have no money. I have no money. Don't say those things. Affirmations are something that's mantras. It's things that we say to ourselves over and over and over and over again. Bye, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. לילה טוב. תרגישי טוב. It's things that you say over and over and over again, affirmations. What happens in your brain, scientifically proven, I'm not going to get into it, go home and watch it on YouTube, is that you create new circuits in your actual brain, okay? And they see it in scans. That people that have changed their way of thinking, people that have worked on that, and it's hard in the beginning. It's hard in the beginning because you're so used to a certain pattern, you're so used to complaining, whatever, drinking your coffee, smoking your cigarette, and complaining, right? You're so used to that situation. I know. So you're so used to that situation that it's really, really, really hard to break it. It's really, really hard to break it. But you do it for the first week, and you'll see it gets much easier. And the amazing thing about it is that you start acting different, feeling different, attracting different people, attracting better people that are functioning on this level, not functioning on the level of sitting and complaining and smoking their cigarette and life sucks and oh my God, I can't believe he did that and he's such a ganav and he's such a this and he's such a that. You're not attracting those people anymore. You're not attracting those people anymore. You're attracting the people that are dreamers, the people that are givers, the people that are looking to expand, the people that are living their lives, the people that are lovers. So whatever you give out, you get back. Whatever you give out, you get back. Whatever you give out, you get back. And giving out doesn't necessarily mean having to go and serve soup in a soup kitchen to homeless people. That's nice, but it doesn't have to mean that. Giving out is what you give out, and what you give out, it starts here. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. At the end, what you see, the product that you see, was only because it originated in someone's mind sometime, somewhere.
Can I say something? Also to distance yourself from negative people.
Very
negative
much.
People with negative thoughts.
Very much.
Constantly talking bad, lashon hara, and negative, and put you down. And just when you get them talking lashon hara all day, gives you red ears. Distance yourself from negative people. Be rather alone with yourself than
100%.
being with a group of losers who talk negative all day.
100%. The Chafetz Chaim's mother said something very, very interesting. She said, it's better not to have too many friends. Better to be alone. And, I'm taking her words, and I'm not gonna, it's better to just be alone and just to go live by yourself. Lo tov lihot adam levado. It's not good to be alone. But there's something about not always being online and social media and seeing everyone's business and being with people and going out and having dates and having play dates, and something about not doing that, because that is on our list here of strategies. We're going to get to it. It's number 7. Number 1, say the things that you want. I am strong. I am powerful. I am attractive. I am consistent. I am fierce. I am loving. I am lovable. Say the things that you want. Stop saying the things that you don't want, because the things that you say are the things that you don't want any more of. Those are the things that you're complaining about. Stop saying those things. Number 2. There are 7 things on this list. Number 2. Tefillah. You have to know that. No, that's okay. You have to know that prayer, tefillah, is an all-around game changer. And there's a big yetzer hara not to pray. There's a big yetzer hara lo להתפלל, not to pray. But you have to know, connection to Hashem, talking to Hashem, mamash, talking to Hashem it can change around your entire route. You can be going down this route, and all of a sudden He's going to take you on a right turn. And I have gone years in my life without praying, and then years in my life with praying, and those were different years. And whether you listen to preachers, rabbis, or anyone in between, you'll have inspirational speakers, motivational speakers, people that are talking TED Talks, who all bottom line tell you, Jews, non-Jews, everyone in between, religious, pray. There's a power to prayer. There's a tremendous power to prayer. And the Torah says, Tefillah, דברים העומדים ברומו של עולם ובני אדם מזלזלים בו. It's things that are like, the energy of tefillah is beyond something ברומו של עולם. It's in a place that no one can comprehend. ובני אדם מזלזלים bо. People treat it as like, yeah, I'll pray for you. I'm sending you prayers. Yeah? You sent me a prayer? Did you say a prayer for me? So don't tell me you're sending me prayers. Right? If you're going to say something like that, then mean it. Be that kind of person. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, mirror work. Really talk yourself in the mirror. Give yourself the encouragement that people don't give you. Give yourself the love that people don't give you. Do it. Do it, it works. It's scary how much it works. Oh, my phone died. Okay. 4, exercise and eat well. Do you know what happens to you when you exercise and eat well versus when you don't? Do you know what kind of a different plant you are? Just look at a plant. Think of a plant. You don't give him water. You don't give him sunlight. You just shove him in the room somewhere, right? And you see him, and every so often you walk by him, and you're like, I'm so sorry. I'm awful. You poor plant. You poor plant. Right? Why? Because we people, we need nutrients. And nutrients are found only in healthy food. Because all the other garbage that we're being sold to, especially in America, okay, where you buy a banana and it's like brilliantly yellow and perfect, and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? Is this a banana or is this GMO? Right? You see that like everything is very, very, very nagua. Everything is very nagua. Everything is very played around with. Everything is very commercialized. You have to know that people that get sick, Rabbi Nachman says, the people that get sick are eventually people that get very, very angry. Okay? It's very common for people that are sick, that have any kind of ailment, to be very angry people. Because when your body's not feeling well, and you don't own health, and you're not a health, and you don't have health in your body, then life is very, very, very more difficult than it is when you are healthy, obviously. And to the point where you need to give yourself that. If you are healthy, you need to perpetuate your health. And I'm talking to myself. And every single day, you have to do some form of giving back to your body. Your body gives you so much. Your vision, your brain, your nose, your mouth, your taste buds, your throat, your esophagus, your everything giving to you so much. Your beating heart, your blood, the oxygen, the insulin in your pancreas. You have a million things going on. Give back. Stop drinking Coke. Stop drinking Coke. Coke is to clean cars, engines. Open up your engine. Your engine is dirty and it has it's rusty. You pour Coke on it. You let it sit for a second, and then you rub it. It turns silver and beautiful. That's what Coca-Cola is for. Stop drinking it and stop feeding it to your children. Because if you want to make healthy people, you have to nurse their minds, but you can't nurse their minds if their bodies are aching. And if their minds are racing because they have yellow and red and green flowing through their heads. All that food coloring and all that stuff that's messing with them on a deep level. And that's the cause 100% of cancer and all the other illnesses that are going on today. That people are suffering all the time from. And then people get to the age of 40 and 38 and 37. All of a sudden they're like, ah, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I don't feel well. Oh my God. I have this and I have that and I have thyroid cancer. I have this thing and I have that thing, but I can't stop with the sugar and I can't stop with that and I can't stop with the cheese and I can't stop with the pizza and the Coke and the French fries and I can't. And your life becomes that you have become a slave to the FDA. You have become a slave to your taste buds.
Just ask me if I want a cookie. In the middle of your conversation.
Listen, I want to tell you something. It's not all or nothing.
You told me.
I want to tell you something. It's not all or nothing. It's not all. We have to learn how to take things in life. It's not all or nothing. We have 80-20. 80% of the time, you're doing good for yourself. You're doing the right thing. 20% of the time, you have a cookie, you'll have a pizza, whatever, you'll eat something not healthy, but it can't be that this is your life.
Good. When you keep this 80, when you go to the 20, it doesn't even taste good.
Right?
After you used to eat healthy.
What's that?
Are you gluten free or are you eating gluten?
I'm not talking about myself right now.
Okay.
Next thing, number 5. Number 5. You have to keep learning. You have to keep your mind. Food is for your body. Ricky, are you thirsty right now?
Yeah.
Is that what you're drinking?
No.
You're not thirsty?
No, because I want to shop enough water for my brother.
Oh, you just want to put water in your body. Okay, I've inspired you, I see.
No.
I haven't inspired you.
I need to finish up.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
So I'm doing liquidation. I'm like,
Okay, so let's say Ricky was thirsty. Okay? Let's say she was thirsty. So what do you do? What do you do when you're thirsty?
Drink.
You drink? Good. What happens if you don't drink?
You get dehydrated.
You get dehydrated. And what happens when you get dehydrated?
You gotta have
Yeah. You get really, really sick. Right? You get really, really sick if you get dehydrated. The point is that our minds, like our bodies, our minds, thank you. Our minds, like our bodies, get dehydrated when we don't have anything going through them. When we have no knowledge going through our minds. When we're not learning anything, when we're not coming out to classes, but you are coming out to classes. And you are inspiring yourselves. And you are out to get more knowledge. And that gives your mind a boost. You have to boost your mind. You know what the greatest athletes say? That in order to really lose weight, let's say you've been doing something, you did a diet for a certain amount of time and it's really healthy. At a certain point you plateau. You plateau, even if you're eating your vegetables and everything and you're doing all the right things, you plateau, you stop losing the weight. And you still want to lose weight. So what do they all tell you to do? What do they all tell you to do?
to eat not healthy. No. That's not what I mean.
No.
That's not.
That's
the
not-
opposite.
No, like you would eat like more sugar, more fat, and
No.
then you go back
No.
No.
to no.
No, you just have to change something on your diet.
You have to change something.
Still, yeah.
Okay, so this is what they tell you to do. They tell you to shock your system. Shock your system. If you've been doing treadmill for the past 3 months, stop doing treadmill, get on the elliptical.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's I know, yeah.
Okay? So if you are doing the same thing, if you are eating this for breakfast, this for lunch, this for dinner, switch it up, do something completely different. Okay? Why? You have to shock your system. Every so often you have to shock your system. It goes exactly the same way with our minds. If you just stay every single day the same person without reading, without listening, without learning, you are going to seriously plateau mentally. And plateauing mentally is not plateauing. Plateauing mentally is going down. It's going down. It's going, my life is awful. I hate life. That's where it's going to end up. And that's what you have, because mental illness, when it becomes mental illness, or mental illness when it starts off being mental illness, or just people that are straight up hate life, hate themselves, don't feel good, don't want to be here, and do what happened this past month with these 2 celebrities and other people that have done it in the past. Where does it come from? They had all the money, they had all the fame, they had all the stuff that me and you were trying to get to. Well, depends. They had all of that. They had the American dream. Because it doesn't come from any of that. It doesn't come from money, and it doesn't come from fame, and it doesn't come from where you were born or where you live or the kind of house you live in. It doesn't come from any of that. All it comes from is happiness. And happiness can only be found with your appreciation and gratitude for what you have, with your affirmations, with your careful with the thoughts that you choose to have in your mind. If you have a negative thought, squirt it out, say thank you so much for being here, thank you so much for visiting, now you can leave. Imagine yourself opening a door, taking this thought out and closing the door. If you want to see different results, you have to put in a different kind of effort. And I'm telling you from real work, this is the only medicine. If you deal with negative thinking, you have to know there's either one of 2 ways to get away from it. Either let the negative thinking carry you, let the bugs go crazy in your mind, let them take over, and let you become so small and so insignificant and so tired and so exhausted and so down and so depressed that it's either one of 2 ways: to die or to take over your mind, or to take control back and to clean that house and to clean that mind and to say, I am the boss here, I am the master of my ship. Number 6 is giving and contributing, being in a place of giving. Try to give a little bit every single day. And if you haven't given to anyone any day, if you're a mom, you're giving. But try to go a little bit above where a little bit it's uncomfortable. Do a little giving every day. And if it means giving some money, so give some money. Zakat atin li'mavet. Zakah is always amazing. It's always going to save you. Mavet doesn't always have to mean physical death. It can also mean a mental and emotional death. Zakat atin li'mavet. Give it to get rid of dinim. And number 7 is limiting your exposure to social media. It says, Ayn ra'a ve'alef chomed. Whatever our eye sees, our heart desires. If you don't see it, you don't desire. If you don't take your kids to Toys R Us,
So true.
my kids don't want anything from Toys R Us. Is that going to take them to Toys R Us? I need that. I need it. Ima, no. Ima, I need it. I promise you, I will be the best person in the world forever. You're the best. Ima, I need it. Right?
Good thing they went out of business.
Good thing they went out of business. Exactly. Thank you, Toys R Us, for going out of business. Why? Target is also really bad. Because Ayn Rah v'Alev Chomed. I remember coming back from Israel. I lived in Israel for...
Yeah,
I love Target.
people joke all the time. You know, I go to Target for one thing, I walk out with 10.
Exactly. It's like a thing. It's known.
Yeah.
I remember coming back from Israel. I lived in Israel for 11 years, and I came back. It was like the first week that I was here, and I ran into Walmart to buy diapers. And I ran into Walmart. No, I know Walmart. You think is like Walmart. But when you come from Israel, Walmart is like, wow. Right? I remember walking in, and I grew up in America, so it's not like I'm this like fresh Israeli that I don't know anything. I know this, right? And I walk in, and I went to the diaper section. It was against the wall, and I was like, okay, diapers. Okay, here are the diapers. Okay, I kept walking because in Israel you walk like 2 steps and you're done with the diapers, and now you moved over to the tampons. You're done with the diapers. But here I kept on walking and Pampers and Huggies and this Earth kind of thing and this other thing, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I buy? Like there's so many options. And let's not start with the wipes. Let's not go to the wipe section. Oh my gosh. And the diaper rash section and the bottles and the, oh my gosh, there's so many options, right? And Ayn Rah v'Alev Chomed. When your eye sees, your heart desires. And I believe very strongly that a lot of the reason that people are so depressed today, and people are so down on themselves, and people are so angry, and people are so lonely, and people are so closed off, and people are because of social media, because they spend their entire day looking at what everyone else is doing. And look at her, and she has such a cute boyfriend. Oh, she's out. Oh, they must have so much money. And my deadbeat husband, he doesn't know how to do anything, right? And they have, it really highlights, it just highlights what they're so unhappy about in their life.
People think I'm crazy because I don't have Facebook.
Girlfriend?
You're crazy.
You're not crazy. No, you're smart.
I don't have Facebook.
You're smart. Right? And you have to know yourself. For some people, it's not a big deal, and for some people, it really is a big deal. I have friends that are very, very social people, and they specifically don't have Instagram, and they specifically don't have Facebook. They know that if they would have it, they would be sucked into this world, and you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to be your own best friend. You have to be your own best friend.
So true.
I had Facebook when it first came out, and then my husband was just like so against it. He was like, "What is this? It could be dangerous. You could take a picture and we're away, and people know we're away. And what is this?" He's like, you can't live without it. I'm like, no, I can live without it. So we made a deal that I'm gonna go. If you go off Facebook for 6 months, then what would the prize be? I said, you buy me some, whatever. Okay. So I'm like, I could do that. It's no big deal, right? So I go off Facebook. I delete my account. Really, not really, but I deactivated my account, but I really didn't deactivate my account. But my husband wasn't on Facebook, so he really doesn't know. And then one day, like a month later, my daughter comes up and she goes, what are you doing? Didn't you make a deal with Abba that you're not going to be on Facebook? And she sold me out.
She wasn't telling him.
She told my husband that I was on Facebook, right? So that was like
It's an addiction.
The biggest thing. Well, now my husband is on Facebook.
He loves it.
But the funniest thing is, it's that, I don't know if I can't live without it, because I really love, I actually like Instagram more than I like Facebook. But
We're on Facebook right now. I'm not going to tell Mark that you just said that. That you like Instagram more than Facebook. I won't do that to him.
But
It's not only me. You're not talking about Facebook only. You're talking about all.
I'm not saying I don't believe in saying anything is bad or good. I think that Instagram is good and Instagram is bad. Facebook is good and Facebook is bad. Things are good and things are bad. You have to. The point is exactly. The point is to really know yourself.
right, that's what, like, I feel like you see people, they're on vacation and they're this and but I also feel like I'm not that type of person that can be sitting at home in a room all upset, and I'm happy that I see my friends, they're having a great life, and they're
Yeah.
from high school.
You're an abnormally positive person. You're a very positive.
Right, but the person that's
She's a
not.
very positive person.
But-
Great, Baruch Hashem.
Okay, yeah, but I understand like somebody getting in a room and sitting on social media all day and being, I guess, resentful and then, starting not grateful. And
Like if you're not feeling successful in life, if you don't feel successful, and this one just closed the book signing, and this one just opened up a business, and this one just got married, and this one, it really puts salt on your wounds. It really does.
Because it
And-
does so much, and the other one,
If you're so exposed so much,
good about it. You can see good in other people, but people who
you
don't
want to
have,
distance yourself.
they look at your
no, but I feel good about myself. I feel
don't
good.
be
I'm
not
happy.
Right.
But
Right.
if you open a
Exactly.
business tomorrow,
Okay, Facebook
I'm going
friends.
to support your business.
I think
whether
we're
that's just me.
I think we're gonna
Like,
sum
of
up here.
course, but there's-
Let me just see if I didn't say anything. Oh, I did miss something.
they don't look at you.
Hold on, we missed something really important.
And
What's with you? They listen. You listen when she does that.
What?
I want to read because we brought in a few sources. I want to bring in a few just two things from Rabbi Nachman. Okay, ready for this? Can you have a cookie? Can you have a cookie after everything I've done? Everything I've done for you, Erica?
Oh, Breslov? Okay.
Yes, Breslov. He says like this: don't dwell on bad thoughts or desires at all. These thoughts are rooted in the side of death. Okay? There's a side of life and a side of death. Okay? There's a side of good and there's a side of evil. There are good forces in the world and there are evil forces in the world. And when you do good, you connect yourself to the good things in the world. And then you connect yourself to the good people in the world. And it's energy connects to likened energy. Okay? Like attracts like. When you're here, you're going to attract someone that is just like that on your level. You're not going to see him like that, but you are attracting like. Like attracts like. Okay? So he says that it comes from the side of death. He says if they come into your mind, just reject them and push them out completely because ultimately they ruin the mind. Like bed bugs, ruin your house. Bad thoughts ruin your mind and bring a person to a point where they can't do anything and you're really stuck. You're really stuck. Bad thoughts equals fears and worries and all the other things we spoke about. The next thing he says is like this: a person's entire destiny for good or ill depends on the thoughts in his heart. Your whole destiny, look at Shomat. Your whole destiny, for good or for bad, depends on the thoughts in your heart. What you're thinking about. And what we think about is often the things what we really think about is often the things that we really feel emotional about also. When you're able to have a thought and an emotion together, that is very, very forceful. So if you're like angry and you want to you're just so seething and you feel like you were so wronged, go take a walk. Go take a walk. Do not text. Put your phone down. Put your phone down. Do not write back. Do not anything. Take a walk. Talk good to yourself. Good to yourself. Talk to God. Have a conversation with Hashem. Ask Him to mosher you. Ask Him to help you. Ask Him to show you the full picture. Ask Him to give you clarity and yeshuva dat and love in your heart for everyone, even if whatever. Okay? Be that kind of person. Don't be the knee-jerk reaction person. Oh, he took me off. I'll piss him off. No. Don't be like that. Because that's so outdated. So outdated. Okay, and then the next thing I want to tell you is, if you allow yourself to be depressed about these kinds of thoughts, it simply feeds them with more fuel. Okay?
Can you
Bed
say
bugs,
that again?
bed bugs love the negative energy that you have. So the more you think negatively, the more they grow and they expand and they multiply and they take over.
So is it true, who said it, Ricky, that if you think negative, like let's say you think
no,
something,
negative thought.
no, if I think something bad about somebody,
You remember?
yeah.
It affects
It comes
both of
on you. Yeah,
It
It's in
affects
the
both of
Torah,
you.
somewhere in the Torah, or whatever. We was in a class.
Yeah.
And it says.
You know kinesiology? Have you done kinesiology?
Kinesiology, yes.
That proves it.
They
Yeah.
say if you want
my God.
something, you should pray for someone else to have that.
Right.
And it'll come to you. It's the same
You
thing
can
with God.
physically
Exactly.
I want you to lose weight and be skinny.
You don't even need it though. They say if you're praying for help.
Okay, and this is the last thing, and then I have to go because my babysitter is waiting for me. Here we go.
No, I got confused. I said what you
A thought can literally take on a life of its own, and he's not exaggerating. This is not he's not Barbara Walters. This is Rabbi Nachman. You know what I'm saying? He's living in the Ukraine under really, really bad conditions. He learned the entire Torah Kula. He knows, he's not just saying things. A thought can literally take on a life of its own. Thoughts create reality. That's what he's saying. Thought is man's highest aspect. It is more elevated than vision, the sense of hearing, and in fact, everything. Thought is our highest capacity. Choose wisely, choose your thoughts wisely, careful who you think about, careful what you think about, and most carefully be delicate with yourself and be caring with yourself and talk to yourself like you would a little child. Okay? Even if you're not successful in your life, it's okay. There are ups and downs. Comfort yourself. Give yourself a boost because you're not going to get up by knocking yourself down. You're going to get up when you lift